I'm Steve Dangle, and you're listening to Stick to the Pod, which is actually a 2-game suspension if you do that.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Stick to the Pod. Now, as you may have heard, I might not need that introduction anymore. I have a new one. What do you guys think? Big thank you to Steve Dangle for recording that for me. I managed to bump it into him twice last week on my trip to Sweden. Yeah, what a great guy. Listened to every word that you had to say. He was genuinely interested. Not like some of these guys who just nod yes and and don't really care. They're too busy for you. Nope, he spent 20 minutes chatting on both days that I met him. Loved to listen to every word that you were saying. Very interested and intrigued to what you had to say. And just a great guy. So a big thank you to Steve Dangle for that little introduction for me. You guys tell me what you think of it. And yeah, give me some feedback. Also, obviously, I've just mentioned Sweden there. So I need to drop in a little apology to you guys. I know I said last episode 9, that I was going to try and get the episode 10 out for the Tuesday, Wednesday of that week. Unfortunately, I was just far too busy with life, really. Work was busy, getting ready and packed for Sweden. I just couldn't find the time to fit in an episode, and I just didn't want it to be half-arsed and just chuck something out there just for the sake of it. So obviously, I made the decision of not doing one and having a bit of not a bumper episode, but a bit of a longer episode this week. So as I say, it is episode 10. There is a little bit more than usual to get into. So let's start. Weekend of the 11th and 12th fixtures. So what I'll do first, I'll just run through the fixtures first, and we'll have a little discussion, see what's going on where, and we'll go from there. And so the first game of that weekend was a Stars versus Sheffield Scimitars, Billingham Stars, Sheffield Scimitars. And also on that day it was the Widnes Wild v Solihull Barons. On the Sunday, there was D-Side versus Hull. It was the Nottingham Lions versus the Billingham Stars, the Sheffield Scimitars and the Widnes Wild, and the Whitley Warriors and the Blackburn Hawks. So we'll just go through the Saturday's scorers. It was a 5-0 victory for the Stars, 4-0 up after the end of the first period. It was just a clinical first period from the Billingham Stars. Put Sheffield straight on the back foot straight away. Got 4-0 up, and that was the game done. Top line scoring, as you would expect. A hat-trick from Rollins Grittens again. Mike Yelder getting on the score sheet. And Stuart Jackson getting on the score sheet for the first time, I believe, this year. First or second. Might be the second. Could be wrong, though. Sheffield did nothing wrong. They turned up. They had a good-sized bench. They got caught in the first period. Like Stars came out firing, put the game to bed very early, and it was obviously always going to be a long way back for the Sheffield Scimitars from there. But they battled well. The second period, I believe, they only lost the period 1-0. They drew the third period 0-0. I think it was off the top of my head. It was a while ago. But yeah, great graph from Sheffield. Certainly a lot better side than when their first visit to the Forum on an opening weekend where they were beat 7-0. The roster seems a bit bigger, a lot more settled, and we'll certainly see them picking up a lot more points along the season. The next game, I'll be honest, I thought Widnes Wild, Solihull Barons would be a runaway victory for the Barons. But the Wild, Joe Coulter's found some energy in the team, in the room, got some energy in those legs of that group. Helped with the two ways. They've got 2 ways with a couple of Scottish teams, and just losing out 4-3 to the Barons. And obviously on the score sheet, as you'd expect, Dan Mulcahy, Phil Mulcahy, and defenseman Crow with 2. Goal scorers for the Wild, Gilbert, Carruth, Hughes. He's popping up quite a bit this year, Carl Carruth, as and when he plays for the Wild. So he is taking his chances and scoring goals. And it might be a good fit for him to be there permanently. There's obviously a bit of talent there. I know I can't fully remember if he's on a 2-way up in Scotland with Solway and another team, and then Solway and Widnes. Can't remember. I'd have to look back into that one. But I think being at the Wild full time and then maybe stepping up to the Sharks as and when they would require roster-wise would be a great fit for him. There's obviously a lot of talent there. Moving into Sunday, and the D-side wagon just continued to roll. Home 4-1 victory over the Hull Jets. I think, if I remember right, he's still struggling with the games on the road at Hull. Your usual goal scorers again for D-side: Jared Dickinson, Ross Kennedy, Brodie Jesson, and also one from Shaw. The Lions and the Stars, Lions at home, 5-2 at the Stars. I'm not going to lie, it was an ugly game. Ugly game. I suppose when you might look back at this in April time, if you've got the success, if you've got the silverware, you could potentially look at that game and go, yeah, that was a defining moment, because that was a horrible performance. It was ugly. It was a dirty, greasy road win. But it's those sort of games that do win you titles. Nothing flash. Certainly not a free-flowing Stars. And I think the Lions as well. I think they'd be disappointed in their performance. I think they know they can play better, and if they had played better, would have certainly caused Stars a lot more problems. So I think even them, they'd have probably had us talking to in the room afterwards, thinking we might have just let one go there. Might be just a little disappointed in themselves. They grafted hard as they do every week, but I think performance-wise, I think they probably found themselves a bit short of where they wanted to be. And I think on another day, the Lions could have just caught the Stars cold there. Moving on to I think it was an early face-off in Sheffield on the Sunday, was it? The Sheffield Scimitars 3, the Widnes Wild 4 on penalty shots. Yeah, 4-3 victory. So like I said earlier, Sheffield are certainly not that team that they were at the beginning of the season. They're certainly working and grafting a lot better than they've done. And the Widnes Wild are picking up a victory. And we probably say, only going 4-3 the night before to the Solihull Barons, you probably think, yeah, it's a good result. I think at the time I called a Sheffield victory, but fair play at the Widnes. They took the game into penalty shots, and yeah, they took the game in penalty shots, a 4-3 victory there. And then you could probably argue the game of the weekend, and you just know when these two teams get together, something always happens. Whether it's something happening in the crowd, whether it's happening on the benches, but it always seems to be a physical, feisty game, and probably the best rivalry in the league at the moment. Them two teams, when they come together, whether it's they don't like each other, I don't know, but when they come together, there is fireworks. 3-2 victory for the Whitley Warriors, which in some eyes might think, oh, it's a bit of a shock result, especially the way the Hawks are playing. But like I said, them two teams, they go to war with each other. And the goal scorers for the Whitley Warriors, Grigors, Douglas and Kippen, yeah, it's probably not names you'd expect to see. Warriors don't really have that one guy or them 2-3 guys that you expect to see every week scoring goals. It is a collective effort from them this year. And the goal scorers for the Hawks, Aaron Davies, the Stalwart, and Jacob Lutwich. Not going to go too much into this game though. I think everyone, with it just being as far back as it was, obviously the two fights are all over social media, so we all know what happens there. In my eyes, a fight to fight. They're all warriors. But if you're tough enough to fight, you're tough enough to go for it. Fair play. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. But yeah, if you haven't seen them, you don't know what I'm talking about. If you just jump on, I think it's Ice Hockey Fights UK. They're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. There's a couple of good fights from that game. So we'll move on to last weekend, as it's a bit more fresher in the memory. This is the point where I was in Sweden. What a great time I had out there. What a fantastic city. What a beautiful city. And what a fantastic arena as well. It was right next to another arena. I was in the Avicii arena. The arena next door had a wonderful bar underneath. Had a big scoreboard like TV system. Also, if you think of big arenas, they have the scoreboards. They had like the big TVs going around in the centre. They had a stand going up one side, bowling alleys, crazy golf. This is all under the stadium next to the Avicii arena, which what a fantastic place. And two great games of hockey as well. My team never managed to win anything, the Red Wings, but nonetheless, two great games. So moving back into the NIHL Morley Conference of last weekend, again, I will just quickly run through the fixtures so we know who's playing who, and then we'll go through the scores. I am missing information of one game. I don't have no scorers for the Barons and the Lions. I have looked in a few places, and unfortunately have come up a bit short. Maybe I need to start asking clubs for game sheets if that's possible. But we'll jump into the game that was on Saturday. I think it was the Hull Jets and the Whitley Warriors. That was the only Saturday fixture. The Sunday fixture, as I just mentioned, the Solihull Barons, the Nottingham Lions, the Whitley Warriors and the Hull Jets, who had a double-header weekend with each other. The Blackburn Hawks and the Deeside Dragons, and Widnes Wild versus Sheffield Scimitars, which we all know was postponed due to some sort of leak in Planet Ice Widnes. all sorted now, from what I can remember. I think the back playing games are on home ice this weekend. So all good for the Widnes Wild. They'll obviously have to rearrange that fixture. We'll get straight into Saturday's game, and well, there we have it. Hull Jets finally lose on home ice. And I had spoken to a few people about this. I mean, they've probably caught a lot of teams cold for their first visit to Hull this year. But I think as Hull start to play teams for the second time at home ice, we could start to see a few different results appearing. And I think this is the first one. The Whitley Warriors grabbing a 4-3 victory after penalty shots. Jaseko and Hager scoring the 3 goals for Hull Jets. Simpson, Ord and Ross on the score sheet for the Warriors. I don't have the shootout scorers. If we're going through that, I'd be here all night. The Solihull Barons, as you'd expect, winning on home ice 6-1 versus the Lions. I don't have the scorers, but with the Barons, you've got to expect it will be Mackay, Crow, Otterson, the usual suspects. If I can find that information, I might stick it out a bit later on. The return leg of the Jets Warriors was Whitley Warriors 4, Hull Jets 3, Ord, Ross getting 2, and Queenan. Ross' name starting to come up a bit more repetitively now for the Warriors. He's starting to bang some goals in, and he could be probably the focal guy there who's getting the goals. And for the scorers for the Jets is Kent, Morris, and Beach. As I say, while Schimmer's postponed. So then you've got to probably go for the performance of the weekend and a monumental effort from the Blackburn Hawks to stop that wagon of a team, D-side Dragons. I think their streak ends at 8 wins in a row, 9 wins in a row. With the Hawks coming out 9-3 victors against the D-side Dragons. That's a huge statement victory. A full-strength D-side side going to Hawks against the Blackburn Hawks and getting hammered, basically. Something that you'd not expect whatsoever. Not with D-side's firepower. And obviously adding an extra import to that firepower as well. And it was him who scored for the D-side Dragons, Hayjack, McKinney, and Kennedy. 2 of the guys that you see in the score sheets week in, week out. And maybe we'll start seeing that Hayjack more of a consistent basis as well. Goal scorers for the Hawks spread quite well, actually, considering the goal scorers they have. Luke White's 2, Royds, Crawley, Barnes, Cross, and Riddick. So yeah, as I say, a fantastic 9-3 victory. So that brings us on to this weekend. And when I was collecting the information for, well, I say me, the other half who does the editing, does my bit of research for me as well. I'd be spending every night in front of a computer trying to get all this information, putting the fixtures together. Everybody plays this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. What a weekend of hockey we have for you this weekend. So starting with Saturday, we have the rearranged fixture of Billingham Stars versus the Nottingham Lions. We have the Blackburn Hawks and the Whitley Warriors. As we mentioned before, them 2 teams play out barn burners no matter what and no matter when they play each other. The Hull Jets and the Barons. Can Jets get back to winning ways on the home ice against the Solihull Barons? And then you've got your Sheffield Scimitars and the D-side Dragons, who will be looking to bounce back. So obviously Saturday's fixture, it is Saturday as I record this, hopefully it'll be out in a couple of hours, so hopefully you'll be able to listen to before the weekend's games. Obviously the Hawks and the Warriors is the game that stands out massively due to what happened last time out between the 2 sides. And then the Hull Jets and the Solihull Barons is another fantastic game. But as, again, I'm repeating myself a bit again, as teams start to visit the Jets for the second time, teams will find a way to win in that barn. So it'll be worth keeping a close eye on that one. Moving into Sunday, Stars' second home of this weekend. Stars play the Widnes Wild. Be interesting to see what kind of Wild team travels and who they have available. Another great game on the Sunday, which is going to be the D-side Dragons and the Blackburn Hawks. Although the Dragons will be looking to get back to winning ways against the Scimitars on the Saturday, they'll certainly be looking for revenge on the Sunday. So that'll be another fantastic game. The Barons are at home against the Sheffield Scimitars. You can only see a home victory there. And we've got the Whitley Warriors at home to the Nottingham Lions. So a bit of a travel there for the Lions coming to the northeast. Saturday and Sunday, up to Billingham on Saturday and to Whitley Bay on the Sunday. So a fair bit of travelling for them to do. But I can only see a home victory there. So yeah, lots of games this weekend. So it's going to make the next episode a bit interesting. Lots to go through. Obviously, lots of big scores, no doubt. There hasn't been many low scores across the league. There's lots of high-scoring games and even high-scoring close games. So that's pretty much about it. There's not a lot to really cover elsewhere. Dan Mulcahy has been announced as a 6-game ban. I noticed that came through last night, I think, on the Dops, on the Twitter page of Dops. Dan Mulcahy's got a 6-game ban. Just let me pull that up, actually. If you just bear with me a second, I'll pull that up and we'll read out what that is. So on the Twitter page, I'm on the NIHL Department of Player Safety at NIHL Dops. Suspension update, Dan Mulcahy of the Solihull Barons, and he received Tier 1, 6 games, illegal, check to the head. But on the EIHA announcement that came through this morning, I did take a screenshot of this one, there was a little bit more details. And so let's have a little read of what it says. Dan Mulcahy, Solihull Barons, 6-game suspension, illegal check to the head, twisting body into boards, injury sustained. So that's the 6-game ban. But reading through some of this, it is crazy what people are getting bans for and what they're getting bans for. So just to start, Division 2 side, Sheffield Titans, Charlie Davenport, 6-game suspension for biting. Biting? What are you? Are you 3-year-old and teething? Biting? What are you playing at? Just, jeez. I nearly fell off my chair when I seen that. Biting. But yeah, anything else on there that stands out? Harrison Lills, Invicta Dynamos, 2-game suspension, interfering or striking a spectator. Now, hang on a minute. So this guy has got 2 games for being involved with a fan in some sort of way, whether he's been a physical fight, whether it's been a punch, whether it's been a bit of pushing and shoving. He gets 2 games. If he acts like a petulant baby and bites someone, you get 6 games. I think they've got something to sort out there, the Dops team. That's not right. And then loads of suspensions for fighting. So that brings me to a question, actually. Is fighting banned or not? Are you allowed to fight? Everyone seems to be getting banned for fighting. You've seen lots of bans for fighting. 1 or 2 games. Now, yeah, the stage crap, I'm all for banning that. It's pointless. But sometimes something can happen in a game that can provoke a reaction. Whether it's a bad hit, whether it's contact on a goalie, or maybe you're 5-6-0 down in the first period and you want to set the tone saying you're not going to be pushing us around. We're actually here and we're going to fight for this and we're going to get back in the game. So yeah, what is the actual rule now? We'll have to look back at that. If you know, drop me a message. You can grab me on Stick to the Pod on Twitter, Stick to the Pod on Facebook. You can drop me an email, sticktothepod@gmail.com. So yeah, what is the actual rule on fighting now? Seen a lot of bans for that. So wherever it is you're travelling to today, drive safe, be safe travelling, enjoy your games. If you see anything out there that's happening, let me know and we can talk about it on the next episode. Hopefully I can get myself, well, I say I hopefully get myself back into a routine and getting these recorded weekly. I do have a holiday coming up, but I might just take my equipment with me and record one from the beach for you. But we'll see closer to the time. But enjoy your hockey. There's lots of it this weekend. And yeah, I think that's about covers everything for what's happened previous and to what's coming. I don't think I've got anything else left to mention. Got suspensions. Oh, we'll go through the league table, shall we? We'll pull the league table up. So again, please bear with me. I'll pull the league table up. We'll have a little look at see what's happening in the league. A lot more games played now. A lot more teams. They're roughly around the same amount of games, so you can start to get a feel for what's going on. So if you just bear with me, and I'll pull up the league table. I should have it one click away, really. So sitting pretty at the top still, the Billingham Stars on 20 points. Whitley Warriors, after turning their fortunes around, they were on a bit of a losing streak, weren't they? They've got some wins in the bag with the return of Jordan Barnes. A second, 15 games played and 19 points. So Stars got 2 games on the Warriors in second place. Solihull Barons, 13 games played, 18 points, so 2 behind Stars, and they've got each other to play a week on Saturday, so that'll be certainly interesting. I wonder how much that affects the Barons with the news of the Dan Mulcahy suspension for 6 games. And it'll be interesting to see what games he does miss and how much that could hurt them, just because it's hard to say. I don't mean this to come across the wrong way, they're very much a one-line heavy side, and I might even jump on their stats at the moment just to see how it could affect them. With someone missing from that line, it's certainly going to upset the chemistry. 4th place is the Blackburn Hawks. Obviously, they had that loss to the Warriors, but they had a huge win against D-side Dragons. 13 games played, 16 points on the board. 5th place, D-side Dragons, 13 games played, 16 points on the board. Obviously, the head-to-head between the Hawks and the Dragons puts Hawks above them. 6th place is the Hull Jets on 15 points with 14 games played. Be interesting to see how they go in that second half of the season. As I mentioned earlier in the show, teams going to their barn will go there with a different mindset. They'll know a little bit more of what to expect, what's coming, and obviously game situations are a lot different now to where they were at the start of the season. And then we move into the best of the rest because there's a bit of a fall off in points. So it'll be interesting to see if Widnes can join the rest of the pack as Joe Coulter tries to turn the Widnes Wild ship around. So you got 7th place, the Widnes Wild, 13 games played, 8 points. The Sheffield Scimitars on 7 points after 13 games played. And right at the bottom there, the Nottingham Lions, 13 games played, 6 points on the board. I don't have a stats table as such. I'd have to go through each team. I rely on Elite Prospects for that. So come on, Matty, get it updated. I use that. Just have a look. Just bear with me, guys. What I'm going to do is try and get some points for you. Players. We'll try Billingham at the top. And I'll just try and cover a couple of the top players of each side. So Billingham, the top 5 scorers are all forwards. The 6th top scorer is defenceman Toby Spraggan. So at the top, as you'd expect, Roland Gritton's 35 points, 12 games. Chris Sykes has 31 points, 13 games. And Michael Elder, 25 points, 13 games. That's actually the Stars' first line. And then the points coming from the second line as well. So you can see the Stars are, the top 2 lines are heavy for scoring. Because then you've got Ian Brown, James Moss, defenceman Tommy Spraggan, and the other forward from the second line, Sean Shuggy Galloway. So that's the Stars scorers, top point scorers. Let's go back. We'll look at the next team. What a great website this is, by the way. NIHL Stats. What a lot of work goes into this. Fantastic work from the guy that runs this. Did know his name. So he has lost me, so I do apologise. Blackburn Hawks scorers. Let's have a look. So a bit of a shock, I think, this for some people. As you remember, at the start of the season, we spoke about team scorers, where the goals are going to come from, who's going to be the standout guys. Obviously, Blackburn Hawks lost Tate Shudra, and he's still in their top 10 of scorers, so it just shows you the impact he had there. But leading the way is Jacob Lukweich, 13 games played, 22 points on the board. James Riddick, 13 games played, 19 points on the board. And then D-Man Bobby Streetley, 13 games played, 14 points. And then obviously Adam Barnes, David Jurinex, both have lost, haven't played as many games as others. They're next on the points. And the old veteran Aaron Davies there as well, top scorers. So that we'll move on to the next team. D-side Dragons, I fully expect to see their points spread out as well. Bear with me as we get there. But yeah, they're one. The top 6, I say top 5. Top 5 are all forwards, as Jared Dickinson does play D. So leading the way is Brodie Jesson, has 28 points in 13 games. Ross Kennedy, 24 points, 13 games. And the impact Andrew McKinney has had, obviously missing the first 4 games through suspension. 9 games, 21 points. So you can see there's been no coincidence in McKinney's return and D-side's upturn in form are linked. 21 points in the 9 games for Andrew McKinney. Then you've got Velusiak, he's there. Jared Dickinson as the highest scoring D-man as well. All Jets, their scorers. Richard Hagger leading the way, 22 points in 14 games. Kieran Beach, 18 points, 14 games. They're the 2 that you'd expect to be up there, the 2 experienced players of Richard Hagger and Kieran Beach. A lot of experience between the 2 of them. And obviously the 2 that are leading the way in the scoring department. And nothing else to really mention there, so we'll jump on to the next team, Lions. And as you'd expect, there's only one name at the top of that tree, and that's Zaki Okiyama. 13 games played and the 19 points. Just there, something stands out to me straight away. 49 penalty minutes for Zachary Okiyama. He can't be playing that sort of game. Nottingham Lions need that lad on the ice. And I know teams target him, and I know he's obviously easily wound up. That tells me he's very easily wound up, 49 penalty minutes. But that lad needs to be on the ice. That lad, if his temperament changed and his attitude changed, he didn't take as many stupid penalties as he does, could play National League for me. That's how talented he is. But if he's taking stupid penalties night after night, putting his team, who are a basement team at the moment, it's harsh to say, they're at the bottom, can't be taking no stupid penalties because he needs to be on the ice for the Lions organisation. Let's move on to the next team, the Scimitars, and it's the very talented Michael Daneko. 10 games, 11 points. As you'd expect, there's not that many points on the board for the Scimitars scoring-wise. He's the only player in double figures with 11 points. Top goal scorer, along with Cameron Pywell. They've both got 4 goals each. But that'll obviously change as the season goes on. I think the team will get better. They were decent at the forum last time I saw them. They've obviously picked up some results that have shocked the league. And then obviously as well, they've had some close games going to overtime. But yeah, I think they'll improve as the season goes on. The next side, Solihull Barons. Now this is the big one for me. I was looking the other day. No secondary scoring here. So you've got Nicholas Otterson at the top, as you'd expect. He's flying this year. Games played 13, 26 goals scored, 19 assists for 45 points. And then look at that, 8 minutes in the penalty box. It's total roles reversal from Zachary Yokoyama. Line mate Dan Mulcahy second, 12 games played, 31 points. It's going to be a lot less games played after that 6-game ban. And then the other line mate of Phil Mulcahy, 13 games played, 20 points. And then it's D-man Richard Crowe, who is pretty much always on the ice with those three, especially on the power play. 13 games played, 19 points. And then the next forward, I can only assume he's the second line forward, 5 points. 5 points for the next forward in that team. So for everything that Otterson, Mulcahy and Mackay are doing, they need to find some secondary scoring, because that could be what costs them in the long run. Yeah, and then, the second line, I'm trying to work out the second line here off the top of my head, but second line between them have 13 points, I think that is. I can see 13 points on the second line. And obviously the first line is over 100 points. So they do need to find some secondary scoring, but obviously they now have a 6-game hole where Dan Mulcahy has left them. So it'll be interesting to see how they move forward, because I don't think any team or any player or one line can sustain that for a full season. That'll be hard work and tough going. So it'll certainly be interesting to see how they go for the remainder of the season. Who's the next team in line? It's the Whitley Warriors. I think I mentioned earlier on, I think their points will be well spread as well. Carl Ross starting to step up a little bit more on the goal scoring sheet. Yeah, pretty much what I'd expect. But leading the scoring is defenseman Harry Harley, who's 17 points. Then you have forwards Adam Finlayson on 14 points. Adam Robinson, forward, on 12 points. Captain and stalwart Skippy Sean Kippen, 10 points. Carl Ross, there he is. He's the second leading goal scorer. Carl Ross with 6 goals. Harry Harley leading the way with 7 goals. So you can just see the goal scoring issues that the Warriors are having. Their top goal scorers are both shown as D-men, but I fully expect that to change as the season goes on. I still expect changes there. Like I say, Barnes is back out of retirement. He's playing 3 games now, a couple of assists on the board, but he does give them that grit factor that the Warriors crowd do love. Who's next? It should be last but not least, the Widnes Wild. Oh, I'm a bit surprised at that, actually. No players in double figures, points-wise. You've got Michael Gilbert leading the way with 8 points, alongside player coach Joe Coulter, who's also got 8 points. Michael Gilbert, the top goal scorer, on 4 goals. But yeah, not a lot after that. Carl Caruth's on 6 points. He's only played the 5 games. I think if he was playing there week in, week out, that would be much different. I generally believe that. But yeah, certainly something to keep an eye on as we go along. Hopefully, elite prospects might be updated for me next episode. As I said, Matthew, get your backside in gear. I need that. And we'll have a proper run through the table of the league's leading scorers. But for now, I think that's enough. I've waffled on a bit long. Do let me know what you think of the new intro. Another massive thank you to Steve Dangle again for doing that for me. And yeah, hopefully we can get into a bit of a routine getting these episodes out as we have the run into Christmas. But yeah, any questions, as I mentioned earlier on, drop me a message. You can either do it on my personal account or on the Stick to the Pod accounts, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. If you do follow me on YouTube for these episodes, please subscribe to the channel and definitely share it. If you're a fan of the division and you know other fans of the division who aren't listening, please spread the word. All I'm trying to do is get the word out about NIHL North 1 because I think it's a great division. And look how competitive it's been this year. And I've also got the email address if you want to drop me anything there. sticktothepod@gmail.com. So that's a wrap. That's bye for now. And I'll speak to you all next time.